friends, it's Lisa, and welcome to the final vlog, the final week for the Magical Readathon. Let us pray I can get everything done in time. I'm actually in good shape. I'm doing the Star Whisperer career like I've been saying, and I had 5 prompts, 5 classes that I had to complete, and I've done 4, so I only have the final one left to complete. So I think we will be all set, and I will be able to finish that this week, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened. I will say I am in the middle of doing a themed reading vlog, which I've been kind of working on throughout this month as well. You probably have been able to figure it out. I'm doing another historical romance reading vlog, and actually, by the time this vlog goes up, I think that should be up. So if you want to go and check that out, that's there. But I do have the final historical romance that I need to read for that vlog, and I'm like a third, maybe a little under a third of the way through that book, and I would like to maybe finish it today or tomorrow, and then we can get started on the prompt, the final prompt for the Magical Readathon. But I do need to get that book done so I can edit that vlog and get it sent to the sponsor and everything. So yeah, that will be the priority first, and then we will get into my final book for the Magical Readathon, which is The Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu. This is the first book in the Eldest Curses series, and in this series, Magnus and Alec are like the main characters, and it's basically just Malik fan fiction, and it's fun. I actually didn't really love this book the first time I read it. I think I gave it like 3 stars, which is fine. I'm excited to reread it though and see if I feel differently. I was watching Christine Riccio's video that she did on Chain of Thorns, and she was talking about like the plot of this book and the second one, Lost Book of the White, playing a role in the Wicked Power series, which Cassandra Clare has yet to write. That's going to be the last, for now, Shadowhunter series, and I don't really remember the plot of these books at all. I just remember them being silly, goofy Malik fanfiction. So I'm going to need to actually pay more attention, I think, this time around, and so I'm excited to see if it does connect, and maybe we can pick up on some things that may happen in that series. I don't know, we'll see. It should be fun though. I don't know if I'm gonna like it anymore, but it should be fun. I don't know. Like I said, I think if I go in with like Malik fanfic vibes in my head going into this book, I might have a better time than I did the first time. This is also the April book for the Shadowhunters read along, and I know we have yet to have the Queen of Air and Darkness live show, but it will happen eventually. The lives and the mental health of the hosts is put as a priority versus the actual live shows. So we will get there. We will have the Queen of Air and Darkness live show soon, I'm sure, and I will always let you guys know when that's going to happen, and then we will have this live show after, and then I think in what month are we in? April, so May, we're reading Goes to the Shadow Market. So yeah, if you want to join in, we're getting towards the end of the read along, but it's very exciting. But this is what we're reading in April, so I would like to read this in the month of April and get it wrapped up, and it is the final thing that I'm reading for the Magical Readathon, so let's hope I can do it. It's not very long, so I feel like I'll be able to. Plus it's a reread, and you know, again, Shadowhunters, Cassandra Clare writing, it goes very quickly. So I am hopeful that I'll be able to finish this in time for the end of the Magical Readathon. So yeah, the final historical romance for that historical romance vlog and the Red Scrolls of Magic are the reading plans for this week. And I'm hopeful that I can do it, but I also feel like the past week or so I have not been in the biggest reading mood, which is like not a great time for that to happen when you're in the middle of a readathon, but we'll see how it goes. I think I'll be able to do it. Also, very different side note here. We got the release date for Heartstopper Season 2 today, which I'm very excited. It's like an early birthday gift to me. It's coming out on August 3rd, so like a couple weeks before my birthday. And I'm so excited. I was literally talking to Darian like a week or 2 ago about how we were both feeling like doing a rewatch of Heartstopper. It was just getting the vibes. I think spring just reminds me of Heartstopper because I think that's when season 1 came out. It came out in April, so it was just feeling like a rewatch, and now we have the date for season 2, so that's very exciting. What's funny is I said I wanted to rewatch Heartstopper, and then I started a rewatch of Stranger Things instead. Very different vibes, but I feel like that says a lot about me as a person. So I might actually have to do that rewatch of Heartstopper soon. But I'm just very excited. I'm excited for the Paris trip. I'm so excited that that's going to be happening in season 2. It's going to be so good. I know it. I'm really hopeful that Heartstopper season 2 is not going to let me down like another season 2 of a Netflix book to show adaptation series. Shadow and Bone. So yeah, that's exciting. So we might have to watch some Heartstopper this week. I also want to keep watching Stranger Things. So with that being said, I think I'll be lucky if I manage to read all of the things I want to read this week, but I'm going to try my best. literally just filmed this clip and wasn't recording the whole time. So, hello. I'm gonna redo this. We're gonna make this quick. I was already trying to make this a quick update, but I tend to babble, so maybe this time around I can actually make this a quick update. But basically, I just wanted to let you all know, finish that final historical romance book that I was reading for the historical romance vlog, and so now that that's done, I can get started on the Red Scrolls of Magic by Cassandra Clare and Wesley Chu, the fifth and final book for the Magical Readathon for me. Very excited to get started. I do have a bookmark in there, but I haven't started it yet. I once again am using my Taylor Swift bookmark because I'm still convinced that Magnus Bane would be a Swiftie. It's just sound logic. Like, you can argue with me, but you would be wrong. So I'm hoping to start this tonight. I know that there's Bruins game on tonight, which I'm gonna have to watch, so I'm gonna have to be reading before and after that game, but definitely think I'm still going to be starting this tonight, and fingers crossed that I like it more the second time around than I did the first time. I gave it 3 stars, which isn't bad, but I remember being pretty, disappointed with it. I was rewatching my most disappointing books of 2019 video recently for some reason. I can't remember why, but there was a reason. And this book showed up in that video, which is just so wild because I love the Shadowhunter world. So the fact that this showed up in a worst or most disappointing books video for me is kind of wild, but hopefully I like it more this time around, and I think I'm just gonna have to go in with the perspective that it's like a silly, goofy Malik fanfic, and that's it, and maybe I'll like it more, but actually remember what happens, because it is canon. However, I think with the fanfic expectation in my brain, maybe I'll like it more, but yeah, that's gonna be what I start next, and the final thing for the Magical Readathon. So yeah, I think I'm going to be starting that, and hopefully it doesn't get derailed by the fact that my copy of Happy Place gets delivered tomorrow, because I fear that once that's in my hands, I'm going to want to start it. I mean, I shouldn't, because I think me and Darian and Casey are planning on doing a buddy read of that, so that can hold me back, and the fact that I need to read this for the readathon, but I'm so excited. I saw someone posted a snippet of the book on Twitter, and I'm so excited. Fake dating. It has fake dating. What do you want from me? It's gonna be so good. So yeah, hopefully I have some self-control and don't pick that up until the buddy read with the besties, and also until this is done. But this is going to be my next plan, and I just wanted to let you all know that I'm actually going to be starting this now. All right. Was that a quick update? I don't know, probably not, but that's all. Ignore the laundry. Actually, I'll sit in front of it so you can't see it. But we have a very exciting package, and of course I have to open it. Oh yes, stunning. Okay, but how am I supposed to have this in my hands and not read it right now? That's the question. Okay, off to text Darian and Casey and ask when we're buddy reading this. Alright, hello. We are once again going to attempt this multitasking doing my makeup while I chat with you all thing that I'm so bad at. But I wanted to give an update. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. But I did want to update on my progress on the Red Scrolls of Magic. I'm gonna not hold this up the whole time. But I'm 60 something pages into it. I'm not super far. I honestly haven't been in the biggest reading mood as of lately. I feel like that was kind of happening last week. In week 3 I was like, oh, week 3 is kind of when I struggle with month-long readathons. But that's still carrying on into this week. I just feel like I'm not in the biggest reading mood right now. So it's going kind of slow, but I plan on doing a lot of reading this weekend. I don't think I have any plans, and because this is the last few days that I have for the Magical Readathon to finish that book, I know I have to read it this weekend and I have to get it done. So yeah, I really have no choice in the matter but to finish it this weekend in time for the readathon. And I don't think yesterday I really gave much of a synopsis about this book. This book, timeline wise, it takes place I think between books 3 and 4 of the Mortal Instruments series, so the original Shadowhunter series. And in this book you're following Magnus and Alec as they go on this vacation to Paris, which, side note, them being in Paris of course makes me want to listen to Paris by Taylor Swift, but it also, I keep thinking about her live performances of songs from Lover that she did in Paris back in 2019. And I just keep thinking of her live performance specifically of Cornelia Street while reading this book. I don't know why that song specifically. Her performance of Cornelia Street from the Live from Paris thing is so good. And if you haven't listened to it, you need to go and do that right now. But yeah, anyway, sorry, completely got derailed by Taylor Swift, but what's new? But you're following them on this vacation, and they kind of get interrupted on this vacation when they find out that this cult that Magnus kind of founded as a joke years and years and years ago is now actually a thing, and they're actually starting to do not great things, fairies are showing up dead, and so Magnus is kind of put in charge of putting a stop to it because he was the one that kind of created the cult in the first place, even if it was an accident and a joke. So it's just following Magnus and Alec as they are very early on in their relationship and trying to kind of navigate that, but also navigate this cult that is happening, and Magnus isn't behind it, so who is behind it, and trying to figure out all of that and put a stop to everything that they're doing. It's fun. I don't know, I've been struggling to read lately just in general, but I feel like I'm having a hard time convincing myself to pick this book up over the past few days. But then I actually pick it up and I'm not having a terrible time. It is fun, and it is cute to see Magnus and Alec really early on in their relationship and see just how they think about each other and how excited they are to be in this relationship, and just some of the things that they're saying. It's oh, they don't even know that they're gonna be together forever. So it is really cute to see them really early on in their relationship. I think this book is just such a weird reading experience. I was trying to figure out how to describe how weird it is, because it's this is a book that we're going back in time. We're going back to, timeline wise, into the middle of the Mortal Instruments series. So that's one of my issues with the book, is that there's no really urgency, and you just know everything's gonna be okay in the end because you know what comes after this book event wise and timeline wise. So I just feel there's not a whole lot exciting me to pick this up, especially it is a reread, but I felt this way when I read it the first time as well. I just was struggling to feel any sort of excitement to see where things were going to go, because I knew they were going to be okay in the end. But I was trying to figure out how weird this book is and how weird of a reading experience it is, because it's it's canon, but it also feels not at the same time. And the best way I could figure out how to describe it, it's back in the day, if you were a Disney Channel kid and you would watch the That's So Raven, Hannah Montana, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody crossover episodes, where it's okay, those are the characters we recognize, but then in every other episode of these shows other than that crossover one, you never hear them mention that moment. You never hear Zack and Cody talk about how they met Hannah Montana, right? It feels canon, but at the same time, it's almost it didn't even happen because the characters never reference it again. And that's what it feels like. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's just what I was reminded of when I read this book. It feels it's the characters you recognize, but it's also it just feels different. I don't know. And also something else that's really nitpicky is that the font that the book is written in is not the typical Shadowhunter font. And that also just kind of doesn't help with making this book feel it just feels different. It doesn't feel, it feels like a side quest. It feels like Magnus and Alec are just going on this one side quest that's not even relevant to anything else that's going on in the main series, and that's the whole book. The whole book is dedicated to this side quest, and so it's just not my favorite, but I do love Magnus and Alec, so I'm not mad. I don't know. It's just a weird reading experience. And like I was saying, I keep getting sidetracked. This is why I shouldn't film and do my makeup at the same time, because I completely lose track of what I'm saying. But this book is being co-written with Wesley Chu, and as someone who has read a lot of Cassandra Clare books, and a lot of them multiple times, it's really obvious to me when it isn't Cassandra Clare's writing, and I feel that also kind of takes me out of the story, because then I'm the characters aren't quite talking I feel they should, or I don't know, I can just tell when the writing is different. And it's not the writing is bad or completely different, I just can tell. So yeah, the different writing styles, the font, which is such a nitpicky thing, but it really does throw me off. And also just going back to the Mortal Instruments time period and knowing that everything's going to be okay, I think is just a few of the reasons why this book just doesn't necessarily work for me. It's just like a weird, like I've said many times, it's just like a weird reading experience. But it's not bad though. I don't know, like there have been, like I said, some cute moments between Magnus and Alec, and I do really like them and like them as a couple. I don't know. It's just not my favorite in the Shadowhunter world. And to be honest, if we weren't doing the Shadowhunters read along, I probably never would have reread this book. Like it's a fun, silly, goofy time, but like once was enough, you know, but apparently it wasn't, because here I am rereading it. So yeah, we'll see how I end up feeling this time around. I feel like I'm noticing a lot of the same things that I did my first read through of this book, but I'm hoping that I don't get as annoyed with certain things and that I enjoy it more, but we'll see. I'm hoping to, like I said, I have to get this done this weekend for the Magical Readathon. So this weekend will be dedicated to doing a lot of reading.
Lazy Sunday mornings, hiding under covers. I don't mind staying in with you. Play your favorite movie, laying right beside me. I don't mind when it's just us two. That corner coffee shop we like to go. Late night walks with you to take me home. With you I never feel alone.
These little songs make me glad to call you mine, and you have got my head in the clouds. Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Well, friends, it is now May 1st. April has come to an end, which means the Magical Readathon spring equinox has officially ended. So I wanted at the end of this vlog to just quickly go over everything I read this month for the readathon. So I do have my Magical Readathon spread here to reference. And in case you forgot, or this is the first vlog you watched of the month, I did choose the Star Whisperer Calling, which means I had 5 prompts that I had to complete. So the first one was for the Art of Illusion class, and that prompt was to read a book that matches your outfit. So for this, I read Cold Hearted Rake by Lisa Kleypas. And then for astronomy, that was to read a book with 2 E's in the title. So I read The Red Scrolls of Magic by St. Clair and Wesley Chu, which was the final book that I was reading this past week, which I'll talk about my thoughts in a minute. And then for the inscription class, that was to read a book from your highest shelf, which you can probably see where it's missing on my bookshelf. And for that, I read On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. And then for lore, that was to read a book with a map in it. So I read Ironheart by Nina Varela. And then finally for psionics and divination, that was to read a book with clouds in the title or on the cover. So I read The Right Move by Liz Tomford. So we were in fact successful. I finished everything I had to read, which honestly, like 5 books in a month is not terrible. I was reading some other things as well this month, but it definitely is something that is doable for me. It's just that I feel like towards the end of the month, the last couple of weeks, I was definitely feeling quite slumpy. And I feel like the last few books I was reading this month were also like nothing that I was absolutely loving, which didn't help, but I did manage to finish The Red Scrolls of Magic with barely any time to spare. I finished this last night. It was like just after 11 at night. So we just made it. And this was the last thing that I had to read for the Magical Readathon. So I gave this 3 stars, which is exactly what I gave it the first time around. I'm interested to see what Darian and Casey think of this book and like what our discussion for it is going to be like. Because to me, this book is just fan fiction that just happens to be published. Like it just gives me such fanfic vibes, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I just feel like the plot of this is like a little underwhelming and just not that interesting. I feel like the best way to describe like the plot of this book is like, it feels like when you're reading a book and there is like this end goal and this end point that they're trying to get to and this thing that they're working towards. And as they progress through the book, they go on these different side quests and these other things that they have to do to get to that end goal. This book feels like you're just reading a whole book about a side quest, which is not necessarily a bad thing because it's just like a silly, goofy time. And, you know, it's not super stressful, again, like I said, because you know everything's going to be okay because we've gone back in time. So in that way it's fun, but at the same time the plot is just a little underwhelming for me. It's not super interesting, and I feel like certain things and certain reveals are a bit predictable. I just filmed my April wrap up, so I feel like I'm repeating myself. I feel like I've already said this today, because I have, but I was saying in my wrap up that I feel like, I don't know if it's just because I'm a romance gal, however, I feel like this book would have benefited with it being more so focused on Magnus and Alec and their relationship and their vacation being a little bit more wholesome. I feel like the parts with their relationship and them like just like the really cute moments and the romantic moments and the way that they like were thinking about one another and the way they viewed one another and how this relationship was so new, but you can see just how much they really do love and care for each other already, even at this point. All of that was my favorite part of this book. The actual romance between Magnus and Alec was my favorite part, and I just love them. So I'm glad that they are the main characters, because like they really carry this whole book, and like their relationship and how cute it is what gets me through this book, because the plot is just very underwhelming. I wouldn't say that this book is awful and that the plot is like bad by any means. It's interesting enough, but I think it's because this did go back in time that the way they have to kind of make up things to make this plot work, so that when you read about, you know, the books in the Mortal Instruments and you read about the other things happening at this time, it feels like it can slot in and it makes sense. And just like some of the ways that they make that work, sometimes it's good and I think it makes sense. Like the way that they explain Magnus not remembering about this cult, like it makes sense, but also at the same time, there's certain characters that they run into in this book, and the way that they explain like how you first meet them in the Mortal Instrument series, in this book they go, okay, so we're gonna forget that this even happened, and so when we meet each other again next time, we're gonna pretend like we've never met before. And it just is like, okay, like sure, but also that's the best you could come up with, you know? And again, I do feel like there is a bit of a difference between Wesley Chu's writing and how he writes humor and the way he writes like dialogue between the characters that kind of throws me off, because it's like, would the characters talk like this? Is this a type of humor that belongs in a Shadowhunter book? Like it just doesn't feel the same, which doesn't mean it's bad. It just does throw me off because I know like the Shadowhunter world and these characters so well, because, you know, I've read all the books and I've read them all multiple times. So I would actually like to read something from Wesley Chu, because I do like the writing, everything in this book I do enjoy. It just does throw me off when it's coming to characters that I know so well and things being thrown off in that way. So yeah, I don't know. It's not awful, but I don't love it. It's just fine, which is why I gave it 3 stars. But I also am excited that I reread it, because now everything is fresh in my head and I'm interested to see if things from this book end up playing a role in future Shadowhunter books. And now it's like I actually remember what this book is about, because I went into it not even remembering anything about the plot. So I think it's good that I did a reread. Also, if you are partaking in the Shadowhunters read along, this was our April book, but we still haven't done the Queen of Air and Darkness live show, so we're going to do that. And then probably the Red Scrolls of Magic live show. I assume both of them will probably happen sometime in May. But yeah, very excited to discuss both of those books. I'm very excited to see what the besties think of all of these books and what you all think as well. I don't know. I just love the Shadowhunter books. Even like this, which is like 3 stars, and I think is fine. Like I just love the world and the characters so much. So even like a Shadowhunter book that I'm not crazy about, I still enjoy. But yeah, that was the final read of April, the final read for the Magical Readathon. And now that it's officially ended, I would love to know if you're participating in the readathon, like how did it go for you? Did you complete all the prompts? Did you do extra stuff? I know a lot of people were doing like the side quests and everything like that, so I'd love to know how it went for you. And now Lisa needs to take a break from doing weekly vlogs as well as readathons. Like this like scratched the readathon itch, and now I'll be good until August when the autumn equinox happens. I do think though that I am going to do a vlog at some point this month reading Happy Place by Emily Henry, so if you want to see a vlog dedicated to reading that, let me know, or just like a weekly vlog where I read it. Let me know if you want to see that. But yeah, I think that is going to be it for this final Magical Readathon Spring Equinox vlog. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.